The start of a new year is more than just a change on the calendar. It's a chance to redefine who you are, to let go of what no longer serves you, and to step into a better, stronger version of yourself. But lasting transformation doesn't come from dramatic overhauls or fleeting resolutions. It's built on habits, the small daily actions that shape your life in powerful ways. The Stoics knew the power of habits long before modern self-improvement books filled the shelves. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca all believed that living a meaningful life isn't about grand gestures. It's about the consistent practice of principles that ground you, guide you, and help you grow. In this episode, we'll explore 10 Stoic habits that can help you reinvent yourself in 2025 and beyond. These habits aren't just theoretical, they're practical, actionable, and designed for real life. Whether you're looking to overcome anxiety, boost your productivity, or find clarity in a chaotic world, these principles will give you the tools to create lasting change. Because reinvention doesn't happen in a single moment. It's a process, and it starts with the habits you choose to cultivate. Let's dive in and explore how these Stoic practices can empower you to make 2025 your year of transformation. Habit 1. Start small, achieve big. When we think about change, it's tempting to imagine a grand overhaul, a sweeping transformation that turns everything around in an instant. But the Stoics understood that true, lasting change doesn't come from dramatic leaps. It comes from small, deliberate steps taken consistently over time. Marcus Aurelius reminded us of this truth when he said, "You must build up life action by action and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible." Starting small doesn't mean thinking small. It means focusing on manageable actions that create momentum. Think of it like planting a tree. You don't expect it to grow overnight, but with consistent care, watering it daily, ensuring it gets sunlight, it becomes a towering force of nature over time. The same is true for your habits. Small actions compound into big results. Let's say you want to improve your health. Instead of attempting a complete lifestyle overhaul, start with something simple. Commit to walking for 10 minutes every day. That small habit is achievable, and as you stick with it, it builds confidence. Soon, that 10-minute walk might turn into a 30-minute run, and before you know it, you're making other positive changes like eating healthier or sleeping better. This principle applies to any area of life. If you want to grow intellectually, start by reading just one page of a book each day. That may not sound like much, but over a year that's 365 pages, an entire book or more. By breaking your goals into smaller, manageable pieces, you remove the intimidation factor and make progress feel achievable. Small steps also help you overcome the fear of starting. Often we delay action because the end goal feels overwhelming. For instance, if you dream of writing a novel, the idea of completing hundreds of pages might paralyze you. But what if you started with just 100 words a day? In 3 months, you'd have over 9,000 words. The key is to focus on the process, not the destination. The Stoics believed in progress over perfection. Seneca said, "Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life." This wisdom encourages us to focus on the small victories each day rather than waiting for some monumental achievement to validate our efforts. To cultivate this habit, start by identifying one small action you can take today that aligns with your bigger goals. Write it down, commit to it, and do it consistently. Whether it's drinking a glass of water when you wake up, meditating for 5 minutes, or jotting down a single idea in a journal, the size of the action doesn't matter. It's the habit of showing up that counts. Think of your small actions like drops of water filling a jar. At first, the progress might seem slow, even insignificant, but over time, those drops accumulate, and before you know it, the jar overflows. That's the power of starting small. So as you begin your journey to reinvent yourself in 2025, remind yourself, I don't need to change everything at once. I just need to take one small step today, because with each small step, you're building the foundation for big success. Habit 2. Master your anxiety before it masters you. Anxiety. It's a storm that brews in the mind, feeding on uncertainties, fears, and the countless what-ifs we can't control. For many of us, it's not the events themselves that cause distress, but our endless anticipation of what might go wrong. The Stoics understood this well. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them." The key to mastering anxiety lies in shifting your perspective and regaining control over your inner dialogue. Anxiety often grows when we focus on what's outside our control, how others perceive us, the outcomes of our efforts, or the uncertainty of the future. By redirecting your focus to what you can control, your thoughts, actions, and reactions, you take the wind out of anxiety's sails. It's not about eliminating uncertainty, but learning how to navigate it with calmness and clarity. Imagine you're preparing for a big presentation at work. Your mind spirals. What if I forget what to say? What if they don't like my ideas? This kind of anxious thinking pulls you into scenarios that haven't even happened yet. To regain control, pause and ask yourself, what can I do right now? Maybe it's rehearsing your opening lines or reviewing your slides. By focusing on what's actionable, you replace helpless worry with purposeful action. Mindfulness is another powerful tool for mastering anxiety. The Stoics practiced staying grounded in the present moment, a principle echoed in Marcus Aurelius' words. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. When anxiety arises, bring your attention back to the here and now. Take a deep breath, feel your feet on the ground, and remind yourself that this moment is manageable. Consider this exercise. When anxiety takes hold, write down your fears. Seeing them on paper often reveals that they're not as overwhelming as they seemed in your mind. Then, next to each fear, write one thing you can do to address it, no matter how small. This process helps you shift from worrying to problem solving. Let's look at a practical example. Imagine a student preparing for an exam. Anxiety tells them, what if I fail? What if I forget everything? Instead of spiraling, they could focus on what they can control, creating a study schedule, reviewing key topics, and practicing relaxation techniques before the test. By taking these steps, they not only prepare effectively, but also calm the storm of anxiety. The Stoics also remind us that much of what we fear is exaggerated. Seneca wisely noted, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. How often have you dreaded a difficult conversation or task, only to find that it wasn't as bad as you anticipated? Anxiety thrives on worst-case scenarios, but reality is often far kinder. To master your anxiety, it's also important to question its validity. Ask yourself, is this fear based on fact or assumption? What evidence do I have that this outcome will happen? Challenging your anxious thoughts helps you see them for what they are, possibilities, not certainties. Finally, remember that anxiety can be a signal, not just a burden. It points to areas where preparation or self-reflection is needed. For example, if you feel anxious about a new job, that anxiety might remind you to research the company or brush up on key skills. When viewed this way, anxiety becomes a guide rather than a foe. Think of anxiety like a wave. If you try to resist it, it crashes over you, leaving you overwhelmed. But if you ride the wave, acknowledging its presence and working with it, you can move forward with greater ease and confidence. The next time anxiety knocks at your door, pause and remind yourself, this feeling doesn't control me. I control how I respond. By mastering your anxiety, you reclaim your peace of mind, empowering yourself to face life's uncertainties with strength and clarity. Habit 3. Design a routine that works for you. Life is full of chaos and unpredictability, but a well-crafted routine can act as your anchor, keeping you grounded and focused no matter what storms come your way. The Stoics understood the importance of structure, believing that consistency and intentionality in daily life lead to clarity, progress, and inner peace. Marcus Aurelius advised, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. This begins with how you shape your days. A routine isn't about rigidity or filling every moment with tasks. It's about creating a rhythm that aligns with your values, energy levels, and goals. When you design a routine that works for you, you free yourself from decision fatigue, reduce stress, and create a framework for consistent growth. Think of your daily life like a ship at sea. Without a clear course and steady navigation, the waves of distraction and unpredictability can push you off track. But with a solid routine, you chart your path, ensuring that each day moves you closer to your destination. Let's start with a simple example. Imagine someone who feels overwhelmed by their workload. Without a routine, they might spend their days reacting to emails, jumping from one task to another without focus. But by setting a clear schedule, blocking time for deep work, short breaks and planning, they regain control and improve their productivity. A routine isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. To create a routine that works for you, begin by identifying your priorities. What are the non-negotiable activities that align with your values and goals? For some, this might mean starting the day with exercise or meditation. For others, it could be carving out time for creative work or meaningful conversations with loved ones. Whatever it is, build your routine around these anchors. The Stoics also emphasize the importance of beginning the day with intention. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." Consider starting your day with a moment of reflection. Ask yourself, what is my purpose today? How can I align my actions with my values? This simple habit sets a positive tone for the day ahead. Your routine should also reflect your natural energy peaks and valleys. Some people are most productive in the morning, while others hit their stride in the afternoon or evening. Pay attention to when you feel most focused and creative and schedule your most important tasks during those times. Save less demanding activities like emails or errands for when your energy dips. Flexibility is another key to a successful routine. Life is unpredictable and rigid schedules can lead to frustration when things don't go as planned. Build in some buffer time and allow yourself the freedom to adapt without guilt. For instance, if your morning workout gets interrupted, look for another time in the day to fit it in. The goal is consistency, not perfection. Here's a practical way to start designing your routine. At the end of each day, take 5 minutes to plan the next one. Write down your top 3 priorities and block time for them in your schedule. This habit helps you wake up with clarity and direction, reducing decision fatigue and increasing your sense of control. Think of a routine as a garden. The structure, the planting beds, the paths gives it order, but it also allows space for growth and beauty. Each habit you cultivate is like a seed that with care and consistency blossoms into something meaningful over time. When distractions arise or life feels chaotic, your routine becomes your sanctuary. It reminds you of what matters most and provides the stability to move forward with purpose. The Stoics believed that a disciplined life leads to freedom, and a thoughtful routine is one of the most effective ways to embody that principle. So as you design your routine, ask yourself, how can I shape my days to reflect my values and goals? Then start small, stay consistent, and adjust as needed. A routine isn't about creating constraints. It's about creating a life of intention, balance, and progress. Habit 4, break bad habits, reclaim your freedom. Bad habits, they sneak into our lives quietly, often disguised as harmless routines. But over time, they can hold us back, chaining us to behaviors that undermine our potential and keep us from becoming the best version of ourselves. The Stoics believed that true freedom comes from self-mastery, and breaking free from bad habits is a critical step toward that freedom. Seneca wisely observed, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This means that every habit we allow to persist unchecked has the power to control us. Breaking bad habits isn't just about self-discipline. It's about reclaiming control over your choices, your actions, and ultimately your life. The first step in breaking a bad habit is awareness. Often we fall into habits unconsciously, grabbing our phones the moment we wake up, procrastinating on important tasks, or turning to comfort foods when stressed. Take a moment to reflect. What habits are holding me back? How do they affect my goals and well-being? Naming the habit is the first step to breaking its hold on you. Let's look at a practical example. Imagine someone who habitually scrolls through social media for hours, losing valuable time and feeling drained afterward. Instead of simply blaming themselves for lack of willpower, they could examine the root cause. Is it boredom? A need for connection? Once they identify the trigger, they can replace the habit with something more intentional, like calling a friend or engaging in a creative activity. Breaking a habit doesn't mean stopping abruptly. It's about replacing it with something better. The Stoics believed in redirecting energy toward constructive actions. For instance, if you want to stop procrastinating, focus on starting tasks in small, manageable steps instead of thinking, "I have to finish this entire project." Say, "I'll work on it for just 10 minutes. This small action reduces resistance and builds momentum. Another key to breaking bad habits is changing your environment. If you're trying to eat healthier, stock your kitchen with nourishing foods and remove tempting junk food. If you want to stop binge watching shows late at night, set a timer to turn off your devices or move your TV out of the bedroom. These environmental tweaks reduce friction and make it easier to stick to your goals. The Stoics also emphasize the importance of self-forgiveness. Breaking a habit isn't a linear process. It's normal to slip up occasionally. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, when you stumble, get back up. What matters is how quickly you recover. Instead of dwelling on setbacks, focus on the progress you've made and the next step forward. Let's consider another scenario. Someone wants to break the habit of negative self-talk. Every time they make a mistake, their inner critic says, "You're not good enough." To break this habit, they could practice self-compassion, replacing those thoughts with affirmations like, "Mistakes are part of learning. I'm growing stronger every day." Over time, this new habit rewires their mindset and builds confidence. Here's a practical exercise. Identify one bad habit you want to break. Write down its trigger, the behavior itself, and its consequences. Then brainstorm a replacement habit and plan how to implement it. For example, trigger: feeling stressed, bad habit, eating unhealthy snacks. Replacement habit: going for a walk or drinking a glass of water instead. Repetition is key. The more you practice the replacement habit, the stronger it becomes, eventually overshadowing the old one. Think of breaking bad habits like clearing weeds from a garden. At first, it's hard work, pulling them out one by one. But as you plant and nurture healthier behaviors, those weeds lose ground and your garden flourishes with growth and potential. The next time you catch yourself slipping into a bad habit, pause and remind yourself, "This habit doesn't define me. I have the power to change." With each small victory, you reclaim your freedom, paving the way for a life of intention, growth, and self-mastery. Habit 5. Make time for what truly matters. In the hustle and chaos of modern life, it's easy to feel pulled in 100 different directions. The noise of endless tasks, distractions, and obligations can leave us overwhelmed, unsure if we're spending our time on things that actually matter. The Stoics believed that our time is our most valuable resource, and using it wisely is essential for living a purposeful and fulfilling life. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." This powerful reminder urges us to pause and reflect. Are we dedicating our time to things that align with our values, goals, and passions? Or are we letting distractions and trivialities consume our days? Making time for what truly matters begins with this awareness. Let's start with a simple example. Think about the hours spent mindlessly scrolling through your phone or getting lost in activities that don't add value to your life. It's not that these things are inherently bad, but they can rob you of the time needed for more meaningful pursuits. Spending quality moments with loved ones, advancing toward your goals, or simply taking care of yourself. To make time for what truly matters, the first step is to define your priorities. What are the things in your life that bring you the most fulfillment? Maybe it's deepening your relationships, pursuing a passion, or dedicating time to personal growth. Write these down and let them serve as your compass when deciding how to spend your time. The next step is to eliminate distractions and time wasters. This doesn't mean you need to cut out all leisure or fun. Rest and relaxation are vital, but be mindful of how much time you're dedicating to activities that don't serve your priorities. For instance, if you want to strengthen your relationships, consider turning off notifications during family meals or scheduling a weekly call with a friend. Thank you for listening. Marcus Aurelius reminds us you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This isn't meant to scare us, but to ground us in the reality that our time is finite. Every moment is an opportunity to invest in something meaningful. Ask yourself, if today were my last day, would I be proud of how I spent it? Let this question guide your choices. A practical exercise to make time for what matters is to conduct a time audit. For 1 week, track how you spend your hours, work, leisure, chores, scrolling on your phone. At the end of the week, review your log and identify where your time aligns with your priorities and where it doesn't. Use this insight to adjust your schedule, allocating more time to what truly matters. Consider this example. Someone who dreams of writing a book but never finds enough time might realize they're spending 2 hours a day watching TV. By cutting that in half, they could dedicate an hour each evening to writing, transforming their dream into a reality. It's not about having more time, it's about using the time you already have with intention. The Stoics also taught the importance of being fully present in the time you do spend on meaningful activities. If you're with family, give them your full attention rather than being distracted by work emails. If you're working on a goal, immerse yourself in it rather than multitasking. Quality matters just as much as quantity. Think of your time like a budget. You wouldn't spend money aimlessly on things that don't bring value. Why do the same with your hours? By being intentional, you ensure that each moment contributes to a life well lived. The next time you find yourself overwhelmed or wondering where the day went, pause and remind yourself, my time is precious. Am I using it for what truly matters? By aligning your time with your values, you create a life of purpose, progress, and fulfillment. One intentional moment at a time. Habit 6. Take on challenges that shape you. Growth doesn't come from staying comfortable. It's forged in the moments when you step out of your comfort zone and face challenges that push you to your limits. The Stoics believed that life's difficulties aren't obstacles. They're opportunities. Opportunities to build resilience, discover your inner strength, and become the person you're meant to be. Epictetus put it beautifully. Difficulties are things that show a person what they are. Challenges reveal who we are, not by breaking us, but by testing us. They force us to adapt, learn, and grow. Without them, we stagnate, never fully realizing our potential. Think about a time when you faced something difficult, a project at work, a tough conversation, or even a physical challenge like running a marathon. At first, it might have seemed overwhelming, even impossible. But as you leaned into the difficulty, you discovered new abilities, gained confidence, and came out stronger on the other side. That's the power of embracing challenges. Taking on challenges isn't about seeking out struggle for its own sake. It's about choosing growth over stagnation, even when it's uncomfortable. For example, if public speaking terrifies you, volunteering to give a presentation might feel like stepping into the fire. But through preparation and experience, you not only overcome your fear, but also develop a skill that can open doors in your personal and professional life. The key is to start with challenges that are manageable, but meaningful. Learn English for free www.reinvent.com. You don't have to leap straight into the deep end. Begin by taking small steps outside your comfort zone. If you want to improve your fitness, start with a 15-minute walk before tackling a full workout regimen. If you're looking to grow professionally, take on a new responsibility at work, even if it feels daunting at first. Challenges don't just help you grow, they also build resilience. Marcus Aurelius advised, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This means that every challenge you face is an opportunity to become better equipped for the next one. It's like building a muscle. Each repetition strengthens you for greater efforts in the future. Here's an exercise to help you embrace challenges. Write down one thing you've been avoiding because it feels difficult or uncomfortable. Then break it into smaller, actionable steps. For example, challenge, running a 5K race. Steps: start by jogging for 5 minutes. Gradually increase distance and set a training schedule. By breaking the challenge into steps, you make it more approachable and less intimidating. Another way to approach challenges is to reframe them. Instead of thinking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what can I learn from this? Shifting your perspective helps you see difficulties not as threats, but as opportunities for growth. For instance, losing a job might feel like a setback, but it could also be a chance to explore a career path more aligned with your passions. Let's consider a real-life example. Imagine someone who's always been shy, but dreams of connecting with others more deeply. Their challenge might be to start initiating conversations with strangers. www.verbalink.com. At first, it feels awkward, even scary, but with each interaction, they gain confidence and develop social skills they never thought possible. What once felt like a challenge becomes second nature. The Stoics also remind us that challenges help us discover our resilience. Seneca said, the bravest sight in the world is to see a great man struggling against adversity. When you face a challenge and rise above it, you prove to yourself that you're stronger than you thought. That knowledge becomes a wellspring of confidence, fueling you to take on even greater challenges in the future. Think of challenges like climbing a mountain. The path is steep and every step requires effort. But with each step, the view gets better, the air clearer, and your sense of accomplishment grows. The challenge isn't just the journey, it's the transformation you undergo along the way. So the next time you face a challenge, don't shy away from it. Pause and remind yourself, this is my opportunity to grow. Lean into the discomfort, take one step at a time, and watch as you become stronger, more capable, and more resilient with every effort. Because the challenges you take on today will shape the person you become tomorrow. Habit 7. Surround yourself with people who elevate you. The people you surround yourself with have a profound impact on your growth, mindset, and the direction of your life. As the Stoics understood, your environment shapes your character. Surrounding yourself with individuals who inspire, challenge, and uplift you is one of the most powerful steps you can take toward reinventing yourself. Seneca wrote, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." This wisdom reminds us that relationships should be mutually beneficial, a space where growth, support, and shared values thrive. Your circle should act as a mirror, reflecting the best in you, while encouraging you to rise above your limitations. Think about your current relationships. Are the people in your life helping you grow, or are they holding you back? This isn't about cutting people out at the first sign of difficulty, but about being intentional with your energy. For instance, a friend who constantly complains without seeking solutions might drain your mental and emotional reserves, while a friend who pushes you to pursue your goals fills you with motivation and encouragement. Imagine an athlete training for a marathon. If they surround themselves with disciplined, driven peers who share their goals, they're more likely to stay on track and push their limits. On the other hand, if their circle is uninterested in fitness or dismissive of their efforts, sticking to the plan becomes exponentially harder. Your environment influences your habits, so choose it wisely. Building a circle of people who elevate you doesn't mean only seeking out those who are ahead of you. Some of the most valuable relationships come from those walking the same path, sharing struggles and celebrating victories alongside you. Whether it's a colleague working towards similar career goals or a friend pursuing personal growth, mutual support fosters accountability and momentum. To cultivate these relationships, be proactive. Seek out communities and spaces where people share your values and ambitions. www.globalownnessproject.org, for example, if you're passionate about self-improvement, join a book club focused on personal growth or attend workshops where like-minded individuals gather. Shared interests are the foundation of strong, uplifting connections. The Stoics also believed in the importance of giving back. As Seneca advised, be helpful to others in your time of abundance, for in their time of need, you may find your own opportunity to learn. Surrounding yourself with inspiring people isn't just about taking, it's about contributing. Encourage others, offer your perspective, and celebrate their successes. In doing so, you create a circle built on trust, mutual respect, and shared progress. Here's a practical exercise. Evaluate your relationships by asking 3 questions. 1. Who inspires and motivates me to be better? 2. Who challenges me constructively, pushing me out of my comfort zone? 3. Who drains my energy or consistently pulls me away from my goals? For those who inspire and challenge you, invest more time in nurturing those connections. For relationships that drain you, set boundaries or gently redirect your energy toward more positive interactions. Let's consider a practical example. Imagine someone striving to start their own business. If they surround themselves with peers who encourage them, provide insights, and celebrate their milestones, their journey becomes not only achievable, but enjoyable. In contrast, if they spend time with those who doubt their vision or discourage risk-taking, they may struggle to stay motivated. The people you choose to surround yourself with act like the soil for a plant. Fertile, nourishing relationships help you grow, while toxic ones stunt your progress. The good news is that, unlike plants, you have the power to choose and cultivate the environment that serves you best. Lastly, remember that your role in your circle matters too. Be the person who uplifts, inspires, and supports others. Your energy and actions can create a ripple effect, encouraging those around you to grow alongside you. So as you move forward, pause and reflect. Who in my life helps me rise? Who challenges me to be better? And how can I contribute to their growth? By surrounding yourself with people who elevate you, you create an environment of mutual support, shared growth, and lasting inspiration. Together, you'll rise higher than you ever could alone. Habit 8. Embrace change as a catalyst for growth. Change is one of life's constants, yet it's often met with resistance, fear, or uncertainty. The Stoics understood that resisting change is futile, but embracing it allows you to harness its power for transformation. They believed that change isn't something to fear. It's a catalyst for growth, a chance to evolve into a better version of yourself. Marcus Aurelius captured this beautifully when he wrote, "Observe constantly that all things take place by change, and accept the nature of the universe with love." This wisdom reminds us that life itself is defined by change. Seasons shift, circumstances evolve, and we too are meant to grow and adapt. The key is to approach change not as a threat, but as an opportunity. Imagine losing a job or facing an unexpected breakup. In the moment, these events might feel like the end of the world, but they often open doors to possibilities we couldn't have imagined. Perhaps losing that job leads to a career that aligns more closely with your passions, or ending that relationship allows you to focus on self-discovery and growth. Change may feel uncomfortable, but it often guides us toward paths that are ultimately more fulfilling. Embracing change begins with shifting your perspective. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Every change, no matter how difficult, carries a lesson or an opportunity. For instance, a major life transition like moving to a new city might initially feel overwhelming, but it can also spark personal growth, new connections, and a fresh perspective. The Stoics also taught the importance of flexibility. Epictetus said, "The flourishing life cannot be achieved until we moderate our desires and see how things are rather than how we wish them to be." This means accepting reality as it is, not as we want it to be. Flexibility allows us to adapt to change with grace, finding new ways forward instead of clinging to what was. Here's a practical exercise to help you embrace change. Think of a recent change in your life, big or small. Write down 3 ways this change has challenged you and 3 potential opportunities it has created. For example, challenge: moving to a new city feels isolating. Opportunities: meeting new people, exploring a different culture, and stepping out of your comfort zone. By reframing the situation, you shift your focus from what you've lost to what you can gain. Consider a relatable example. Imagine someone whose company undergoes a major restructuring, leaving them in an unfamiliar role. They could resist the change, clinging to their old responsibilities, or they could embrace it as a chance to learn new skills and expand their expertise. By choosing the latter, they not only adapt, but also grow in ways they might not have otherwise. Another way to embrace change is to focus on the aspects you can control. While you can't stop change from happening, you can control how you respond to it. This mindset helps you feel empowered rather than overwhelmed. For instance, if a project at work takes an unexpected turn, focus on adapting your approach rather than lamenting the shift in plans. The Stoics also emphasized the impermanence of life. Seneca said, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end." This perspective encourages us to see endings not as losses, but as transitions, stepping stones to new opportunities. Think of change like a river. You can't stop its flow, but you can choose how to navigate it. You can fight against the current, exhausting yourself in the process. Or you can learn to ride it, allowing it to carry you to new destinations. The next time change enters your life, pause and remind yourself, this is not the end, it's a new beginning. By embracing change as a catalyst for growth, you open yourself to possibilities you never thought possible, allowing life to shape you into the person you're meant to become. Habit 9. Learn the power of saying no. In a world filled with endless demands and opportunities, the ability to say no is one of the most powerful habits you can cultivate. The Stoics recognized that our energy and time are limited, and by saying yes to everything we risk spreading ourselves too thin, losing focus on what truly matters. Learning to say no with clarity and grace allows you to protect your priorities, maintain balance, and live a life aligned with your values. Epictetus reminds us, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. This wisdom highlights that you don't need to please everyone or meet every demand placed upon you. By saying no to distractions or unnecessary obligations, you make space for what truly enriches your life. Imagine being asked to take on an extra project at work. You're already juggling multiple responsibilities, and while you want to appear helpful, agreeing to this new task would compromise your ability to perform well in other areas. Instead of saying yes out of fear of disappointing others, pause and ask yourself, does this align with my goals and capacity right now? If the answer is no, politely declining can protect your energy and ensure you give your best to what matters most. Saying no isn't about rejecting people or opportunities. It's about redirecting your energy to where it's most needed. For instance, if a friend invites you to a social event, but you're exhausted and in need of rest, saying no isn't selfish. It's an act of self-care. By honoring your boundaries, you show respect for both yourself and others, as you're more likely to show up fully when you're truly available. The Stoics also emphasize the importance of focusing on what's within your control. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Saying no is an exercise in that power. It's a way of asserting control over your time and choices, rather than being swept along by the expectations of others. To make saying no easier, practice clear and respectful communication. For example, instead of simply saying, "I can't," you could say, "I'd love to help, but I'm currently focused on other priorities." This approach shows consideration while reinforcing your boundaries. Over time, this habit becomes a natural part of your interactions, helping you build relationships based on mutual respect. Here's a practical exercise to strengthen this habit. Write down 3 things you've said yes to recently that don't align with your goals or values. Reflect on why you agreed to them. Was it out of obligation, fear of judgment, or habit? Then think about how you could have politely declined. This reflection helps you identify patterns and build confidence in saying no when needed. Consider another example, a student struggling to balance school, extracurricular activities, and social commitments. By learning to say no to unnecessary distractions like staying out late before an important exam, they prioritize their academic goals without compromising their well-being. Each no becomes a step toward clarity and success. Saying no also applies to internal distractions. Think about the habits or thought patterns that pull you away from your goals, like procrastination or overthinking. By saying no to these behaviors, you reclaim your focus and align your actions with your intentions. Think of saying no like pruning a tree. By cutting away unnecessary branches, you allow the tree to grow stronger and more vibrant. Similarly, by saying no to distractions and demands that don't serve your purpose, you create space for meaningful growth. The next time you feel pulled in too many directions, pause and ask yourself, is this worth my time and energy? Does it align with my values? If the answer is no, give yourself permission to decline. Saying no isn't a rejection, it's redirection. It's your way of ensuring that your time, energy, and efforts are spent on what truly matters. Habit 10. Bounce back stronger every time. Life will knock you down. That's inevitable. The real question is, how will you rise? The Stoics believed that setbacks and failures are not the end, but opportunities to grow stronger, wiser, and more resilient. By learning to bounce back from adversity, you transform challenges into stepping stones toward your greater potential. Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This principle teaches us that obstacles are not there to stop us. They are there to guide us. Every time you face a setback, you have a choice. Let it define you or let it refine you. Imagine an entrepreneur who launches a business that doesn't succeed. The initial failure might feel devastating, but instead of giving up, they analyze what went wrong. Perhaps their marketing strategy wasn't effective, or they targeted the wrong audience. By treating the failure as a lesson rather than a defeat, they can refine their approach and come back stronger with their next venture. Many of the world's most successful people attribute their success to the lessons they learned from failure. Resilience isn't about avoiding setbacks, it's about how you respond to them. Think of it like building a muscle. Each challenge you face is like resistance training for your mind. The more you practice overcoming difficulties, the stronger you become. The key is to view setbacks not as barriers, but as opportunities to learn, adapt, and grow. To cultivate resilience, start by reframing your perspective on failure. Instead of thinking, "Why did this happen to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" For example, if you didn't get the job you applied for, instead of dwelling on rejection, think about what you can improve, your resume, interview skills, or networking efforts. This mindset shifts your focus from the disappointment to the opportunities for growth. Another way to bounce back is to break the problem into smaller, manageable steps. When faced with a major setback, the enormity of it can feel overwhelming. By focusing on one actionable step at a time, you regain a sense of control and begin to rebuild momentum. For instance, if a student fails an important exam, instead of fixating on the failure, they could create a study plan to strengthen their understanding of the subject and prepare for the next opportunity. The Stoics also remind us to embrace patience. Seneca said, "Time heals what reason cannot." Sometimes bouncing back requires allowing yourself the space to process emotions and heal. It's okay to feel disappointed, frustrated, or even defeated temporarily. What matters is that you don't let those feelings hold you back permanently. Think about the resilience of nature. A tree battered by a storm may lose branches, but its roots grow deeper and it stands stronger in the face of future winds. Similarly, each time you recover from a setback, you strengthen your foundation, becoming more prepared for whatever challenges lie ahead. Here's a practical exercise to help you bounce back. The next time you face a setback, write down 3 things you learned from the experience. Then write down 1 positive action you can take to move forward. For example, setback, missing a deadline at work, lessons, better time management is needed, clearer communication with the team, and identifying potential obstacles earlier. Action, create a detailed schedule for the next project, including check-ins to stay on track. Resilience also requires self-compassion. Be kind to yourself during tough times. Acknowledge your effort even if the result wasn't what you hoped for. Self-criticism only holds you back, while self-encouragement helps you move forward. Think of bouncing back like forging steel. It's only through intense heat and pressure that steel becomes stronger and more resilient. Your challenges are the fire, and your response to them is what shapes you into the person you're meant to be. So the next time life knocks you down, pause and remind yourself, "This is my chance to grow stronger. I will rise, learn, and keep moving forward." Because every setback is an opportunity in disguise. And with each bounce back, you're not just returning to where you were, you're stepping closer to where you're meant to be. Reinvention isn't about making massive overnight changes. It's about building habits that reshape your life, step by step, moment by moment. The Stoics understood that true transformation comes from within through intentional actions that align with your values, priorities, and potential. The Stoics understood that true transformation comes from within through intentional actions that align with your values, priorities, and potential. The habits we've explored today are more than just strategies. They're tools for creating a life of purpose, resilience, and growth. From starting small and focusing on what truly matters to embracing change and bouncing back stronger, each habit is a stepping stone to becoming the person you aspire to be. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. Every time you take a step toward cultivating these habits, you're investing in a better, stronger version of yourself. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. By adopting these Stoic habits, you're not just changing your routines, you're changing your mindset, your approach to challenges, and ultimately your life. So as you step into 2025, ask yourself, what habits can I build today to create the life I want tomorrow? Start small, stay consistent, and trust the process. Reinventing yourself isn't a destination, it's a journey, and with these habits as your guide, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Thank you for joining me today. If these ideas resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on which habit you're ready to embrace. Share your thoughts in the comments or with someone you know who's also striving to grow. Let's make 2025 a year of transformation, together. Until next time, keep growing, stay resilient, and live with intention. You've got this. By becoming aware of the triggers and signs of our emotions, we can begin to anticipate and understand them better. This doesn't happen overnight. It requires practice, patience, and a bit of introspection, but learning to see these emotional signals for what they are, informative, not directive, gives us the chance to step up to the helm and steer our responses in a direction that aligns with our values and goals. In mastering this, we not only improve our own lives, but also set a foundation for healthier relationships, better decision-making, and a more fulfilling life. Habit 2. Stoic views on emotions. The Stoics believed that emotions result from our judgments about the world. For example, if you believe that being interrupted in a meeting is a personal slight, you're likely to feel anger. Here's where Stoicism gets interesting. It teaches us that by changing our judgments, we can change our emotional responses. It's not about denying what you feel, but about questioning the assumptions that underlie those feelings. Consider Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and a Stoic philosopher who faced adversities that would overwhelm any person. Political intrigue, war and plague, to name a few. He famously said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." What he meant was that external events do not have to dictate our internal state. We can choose our responses, and in our responses lies our growth and freedom. Another Stoic, Epictetus, emphasized that it's not what happens to us that matters, but how we interpret what happens to us that determines our emotional reactions. It's not things that upset us, he said, but our judgment about things. This is a powerful shift in perspective because it places control back into our own hands. We may not be able to control the first flash of emotion, that immediate gut-level reaction, but we can control what comes next. We can pause, reflect, and decide not to follow through with a negative emotion based on false assumptions. What's truly liberating about the Stoic approach is its practical application. It's not just a theory, it's a daily practice. The Stoics use techniques such as premeditation of future hardships, known as premeditatio malorum, to lessen the impact of emotional surprises. By contemplating potential negative outcomes, they prepared themselves to face challenges with a balanced mind. This exercise isn't about pessimism. Rather, it's about equipping oneself with the mental fortitude to remain steady in any situation. Thank you. Through these teachings, Stoicism offers a compelling invitation to see life not as a series of emotional disruptions, but as an opportunity to cultivate strength, resilience, and a deep-seated peace that comes from knowing you can handle whatever life throws your way. By adopting a Stoic mindset, we learn not only to withstand the trials of life, but to approach them in a way that enhances our understanding of ourselves and our capabilities. Habit 3. The power of choice. Now that we understand that our emotions stem from our judgments and not the events themselves, let's delve into the profound Stoic principle of choice. This isn't about choosing what happens to us, that's often beyond our control, but choosing our response. And believe it or not, in that choice lies our freedom and power. The Stoics teach us that between the stimulus and the response there is a space. In this space lies our power to choose our response. This idea is incredibly empowering. It means that no matter what life throws at us, we have the last say on how we respond. Whether it's a rude comment, a financial setback, or a personal loss, our emotional response is ours to choose. Think about it this way. Life is like a complex dance. Events come at us in quick succession, and our emotions can react just as quickly. But like a skilled dancer who decides which steps to take on the dance floor, we can choose how to move with, around, or away from our emotional impulses. This doesn't mean ignoring our feelings. Rather, it's about acknowledging them and deciding the best course of action that aligns with our values and long-term goals. The key to making this practical is to develop what the Stoics called prosopsis, or mindful attention. It's about being aware in the present moment, recognizing our emotional triggers as they arise, and consciously deciding how we'll respond. By practicing mindfulness, we can widen that space between stimulus and response, giving us the time to choose our actions wisely. This power of choice is what enabled Stoic philosophers like Seneca to remain tranquil in times of extreme stress. Seneca suggested that we should rehearse worst-case scenarios in our minds, not to dwell on them, but to diminish the intensity of our reactions when faced with actual challenges. By doing so, we become less reactive and more responsive. Moreover, embracing this Stoic approach helps us build resilience. Resilience doesn't come from avoiding challenges, but from facing them with clarity and determination. Every time we choose a response that keeps us aligned with our goals, we strengthen our ability to handle future challenges more effectively. Habit 4: Techniques for action over emotion. As we delve deeper into the Stoic practice, it becomes clear that knowing you have a choice isn't enough. You need effective strategies to exercise that choice wisely. Here are some time-tested techniques drawn from Stoic wisdom that can help you choose your actions over your emotions, turning potential turmoil into triumph. One pivotal technique involves the simple yet powerful act of pausing when an emotion flares up. Imagine you're in a heated discussion. Instead of immediately reacting, give yourself a moment. This pause is a buffer, giving your rational mind time to wake up and process the situation. During this brief interlude, you can assess the emotion. Is it anger, frustration, fear? Acknowledging what you feel can diminish its overwhelming power, allowing you to respond rather than react. Another Stoic strategy is to reframe your thoughts about the situation. This cognitive reframing involves shifting your perspective to see the event differently. If someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of getting angry and assuming malicious intent, you might consider other explanations. Perhaps they're rushing to an emergency. Changing your narrative about the event can change your emotional response to it, helping you maintain your composure and perhaps even empathize with the other person. Values-based decision-making is another cornerstone of Stoic practice. Here you make decisions based on your core values, not fleeting emotions. Ask yourself, does reacting with anger align with my values? What would the best version of myself do in this situation? By aligning your actions with your values, you ensure that your responses contribute to the person you aspire to be, rather than a momentary emotional state. Emotional acceptance is crucial too. This doesn't mean resigning yourself to feeling bad. It means accepting that you're feeling a certain way without judgment or immediate reaction. Acceptance allows you to understand your emotions better and manage them proactively. It's like observing the clouds as they pass by in the sky. Notice them, but don't get carried away by the storm. Each of these techniques isn't just about handling a particular emotional moment. They are about cultivating a life where you consistently choose actions that reflect your rational and reasoned decisions. Practicing these techniques regularly can turn them into habits, fundamentally changing how you interact with your emotions and the world. As you integrate these practices into your daily life, you'll find that not only do your emotional responses become more balanced, but your overall sense of well-being improves, allowing you to live more fully in alignment with your Stoic principles. Habit 5. Benefits of choosing actions over emotions. When we choose our actions consciously, aligning them with rational thought rather than fleeting emotions, we cultivate an inner stability that is apparent to those around us. This stability makes us more reliable and trustworthy. In personal relationships, this can deepen bonds as loved ones see us as pillars of strength, capable of supporting them emotionally rather than reacting impulsively to stressful situations. It means that in times of conflict or tension, instead of escalating the situation with emotional reactions, we contribute to resolving it, enhancing the quality and depth of our connections. Professionally, the ability to stay calm and collected under pressure is invaluable. In the workplace, emotions can run high, but the capacity to maintain composure sets leaders apart. This isn't about suppressing emotions, but rather managing responses in a way that is considered and constructive. Decisions made in this state are typically more strategic and thoughtful, leading to better outcomes and demonstrating a level of leadership that is respected and often emulated. Furthermore, choosing actions over emotions leads to personal resilience and mental toughness. The Stoics believed that our greatest trials are opportunities for growth. By facing challenges with a calm and composed demeanor, we train ourselves to handle future stresses with greater ease. This resilience can dramatically improve our overall well-being, reducing feelings of anxiety and depression, and increasing our life satisfaction. Essentially, we're not just reacting to life's challenges, we're actively shaping our journey through them. Another significant benefit is the development of self-awareness and self-regulation. These skills allow us to understand our emotional triggers and effectively manage them. This awareness then extends beyond ourselves, improving our empathy and understanding of others' emotions. With this enhanced perception, we can navigate social interactions more skillfully, adapting our responses to suit different situations and personalities. The practice of choosing actions over emotions equips us with tools not just to survive in our world, but to thrive. By embodying the principles of Stoicism, we don't just go through life. We grow through life, continually improving ourselves and positively impacting those around us. Habit 6. Overcoming challenges. Mastering your emotions and consistently choosing rational actions over impulsive reactions is no small feat. It's a profound challenge that requires dedication, patience, and resilience. In this journey, as Stoicism teaches us, we encounter numerous obstacles that test our resolve and our ability to apply philosophical principles to real-life situations. One of the first challenges many of us face is the intensity and immediacy of our emotional reactions. Emotions are powerful and can overwhelm even the most dedicated practitioners of Stoicism. They can surge quickly and unexpectedly, driven by deep-seated habits and instincts that have been reinforced over a lifetime. The key to overcoming this challenge isn't to suppress these emotions, but to acknowledge their presence without allowing them to dictate our actions. This requires a high level of self-awareness and the ability to pause and reflect in the heat of the moment, a skill that is cultivated through consistent practice and mindfulness. Another significant challenge is maintaining consistency in applying Stoic practices. It's one thing to remain calm and composed in a controlled environment, but it's entirely another to do so under stress in the face of adversity, or during an unexpected crisis. The Stoic practice of premeditatio malorum, which involves visualizing and mentally preparing for potential difficulties, can be incredibly helpful here. This exercise strengthens our mental resilience by familiarizing us with adversity before it occurs, reducing the shock and discomfort when challenging situations inevitably arise. Furthermore, there's the challenge of skepticism, both internal and external. Internally, you might doubt whether Stoic principles can truly make a difference in the face of real-world problems. Externally, peers or societal norms might question or undervalue the importance of emotional regulation, viewing it as unnecessary or overly philosophical. Overcoming this skepticism involves demonstrating the practical benefits of Stoic practices, not only through words but through actions. As we embody the calm, rational, and resilient traits promoted by Stoicism, the effectiveness of these practices becomes apparent not only to ourselves but also to others. Lastly, integrating Stoic practices into daily life poses its own set of challenges. The modern world is fast-paced and often emphasizes quick reactions and emotional expressions. To counter this, setting aside time each day for reflection, such as journaling or meditative practices, can anchor us in Stoic principles. This daily commitment turns abstract concepts into tangible actions, gradually weaving Stoicism into the fabric of our everyday lives. Overcoming these challenges requires a robust commitment to self-improvement and a deep understanding of Stoic philosophy. It's about embracing the process, knowing that each obstacle is an opportunity to practice and strengthen our Stoic virtues. By steadfastly applying these principles, we not only overcome the challenges, but also grow stronger and more capable with each step forward. Habit 7. Real-life applications. Consider a typical scenario at work. You've put your heart into a project, but during the presentation, a colleague interrupts with criticism that seems unfair. The immediate impulse might be to defend your work aggressively, allowing irritation or anger to dictate your response. However, applying Stoic principles, you could take a moment to pause, acknowledging your initial emotional response without acting on it. Instead of snapping back, you might then choose to address the criticism calmly, asking for specific feedback that could improve the project. This approach not only preserves professional relationships, but also enhances your reputation as someone who is composed and receptive to feedback, even under stress. Now imagine a personal situation such as a conflict with a partner or family member. Emotions can quickly escalate in familial settings, turning minor misunderstandings into major conflicts. A Stoic approach would involve recognizing the emotional triggers as they arise and consciously choosing to respond with understanding rather than reactivity. This might mean taking time to listen actively to the other person's concerns without immediately reacting or trying to solve the problem. Such a response promotes dialogue and understanding, helping to resolve conflicts in a way that strengthens relationships rather than weakening them. In another aspect of personal development, consider the challenge of self-discipline, such as maintaining a fitness routine or a diet. It's easy to give in to momentary impulses, skipping a workout because you feel tired or indulging in an unhealthy snack. Stoicism teaches us to focus on our long-term goals and values rather than short-term comforts. By applying Stoic discipline, you can remind yourself of the reasons behind your choices, reinforcing your willpower to act in accordance with your greater good rather than momentary desires. Moreover, Stoicism can profoundly impact our overall resilience and mental health. In times of crisis or sorrow, such as during a financial setback or the loss of a loved one, the Stoic practice of focusing on what we can control, our responses, our values, our actions, becomes invaluable. While it's natural to feel grief or stress, Stoicism helps us navigate these emotions without letting them overwhelm us. We learn to accept our reactions as part of the human experience, but not to let them define our actions or our character. In each of these scenarios, the real-life application of Stoicism doesn't involve suppressing emotions or pretending they don't exist. Rather, it's about making a conscious choice to not be governed by them. This approach doesn't just help in isolated incidents. It cultivates a life of purpose, integrity, and wisdom. Habit 8. Scientific backing. One of the core Stoic practices involves regulating our emotional responses, which is closely aligned with what psychologists today call emotional regulation. This is not about suppressing emotions, but rather managing how we express and respond to them. Studies in the field of emotional regulation have shown that people who can effectively manage their emotions tend to have better mental health, higher satisfaction with life, and stronger relationships. These findings reinforce the Stoic view that gaining mastery over our reactions can significantly enhance our well-being. Neuroscience also offers insights into why Stoic practices are effective. The brain's prefrontal cortex, responsible for higher-order thinking, plays a crucial role in managing our emotional reactions processed in the more primitive parts of our brain, like the amygdala. When we practice Stoic techniques like mindfulness or cognitive reframing, we're essentially training our prefrontal cortex to take the lead in emotional situations. This training can increase our neural resilience, making it easier over time to choose reasoned responses over reactive ones, even during stressful situations. Moreover, the concept of neuroplasticity, or the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life, further supports Stoic practices. Each time we practice Stoic techniques, we strengthen the neural pathways that support these behaviors. This is akin to building muscle through exercise. The more we engage in Stoic practices, the stronger our emotional regulation muscles become. Research has demonstrated that consistent practice in mindfulness and reflection, both key components of Stoicism, can lead to changes in brain structures associated with awareness, empathy, and stress reduction. In addition to the psychological and neurological benefits, there's also evidence from behavioral science that supports the Stoic emphasis on habit formation. Habits play a crucial role in our daily lives, shaping our behaviors and outcomes. Stoicism teaches the importance of developing virtuous habits through repeated practice. This aligns with findings from behavioral science that show how the formation of habits can lead to sustained behavioral change, which is essential for long-term personal growth and fulfillment. By understanding the scientific principles that underpin Stoic practices, we can appreciate not just the philosophical, but also the practical value of Stoicism in modern times. It provides a framework not only for enduring life's challenges, but thriving amidst them, supported by a growing body of scientific evidence that these ancient techniques really do foster resilience, happiness, and a deeper sense of life satisfaction. Habit 9. Daily practices for implementation. One of the most effective daily practices is the discipline of mindfulness. This involves taking time each day to focus on the present moment without judgment. You can start simply by spending a few minutes each morning or evening reflecting on your thoughts and feelings. This practice helps create a mental space around our reactions, allowing us to respond to life's challenges with composure rather than impulsivity. Mindfulness can be cultivated through meditation, but it can also be practiced throughout the day, while eating, walking, or even during conversations by being fully present and attentive. Journaling is another powerful tool in the Stoic toolkit. Keeping a daily journal can help you reflect on your experiences and the decisions you made throughout the day. It's a chance to evaluate what went well and what could be improved. This reflection isn't about self-criticism, but about self-improvement. Write about instances where you successfully applied Stoic principles and times when you didn't. Over time, you'll start to see patterns and areas where you might need to focus more effort. Visualization is a practice often used by athletes, but is equally valuable in Stoic practice. Each morning, take a few minutes to visualize how you will face the day's challenges with stoicism and grace. Imagine handling a difficult situation at work with calmness, or resolving a dispute at home with compassion and rationality. By mentally rehearsing these scenarios, you prepare yourself to act in accordance with your values when the actual situation arises. Another daily practice is to set clear intentions for the day. What Stoic virtues do you want to embody today? Whether it's courage, justice, temperance, or wisdom, choose your focus and remind yourself of it throughout the day. This intention setting can help guide your decisions and interactions, making it easier to live up to your Stoic ideals. Finally, it's crucial to practice gratitude. The Stoics believed that to be happy, we must appreciate what we have rather than bemoaning what we don't. At the end of each day, reflect on 3 things you are grateful for. This could be as simple as a warm meal, a conversation with a friend, or something you accomplished at work. This practice not only shifts your focus from what's going wrong to what's going right, but also fosters a general sense of contentment and well-being. These practices are not just exercises, they are transformative processes that, when incorporated into daily life, forge us into more resilient, thoughtful, and balanced individuals. They ground the lofty ideals of Stoicism in the reality of everyday experience, enabling us to live more fully and react more thoughtfully, no matter what life throws our way. Habit 10. Practice these 10 daily Stoic habits. Starting with mindfulness training, it's essential to cultivate a practice where you deliberately focus on the present moment. This could be through meditation, where you begin by dedicating just 5 minutes each morning to sit in silence, focusing on your breath and observing your thoughts without attachment. Over time, you might increase this to 20 minutes or more. This practice enhances your ability to stay present during daily activities and reduces reactivity to external stresses. Next is the emotional log. This involves keeping a daily record of strong emotions you experienced, the situations that triggered these emotions, and how you chose to respond. By documenting these instances, you gain insight into your emotional patterns and triggers, allowing you to develop strategies to manage them more effectively. Then there's the practice of deliberately exposing yourself to discomfort. This could be taking a cold shower, fasting, or engaging in a rigorous workout. The idea is to strengthen your resilience and fortitude, teaching you that you can endure and remain composed even in uncomfortable situations. This habit trains you to act despite your feelings, aligning with the Stoic value that external conditions should not disrupt our inner tranquility. Visualization also plays a crucial role. Spend a few minutes each day imagining yourself facing and overcoming daily challenges with composure and adherence to your Stoic principles. This mental rehearsal preps your mind to act according to your visualization when actual challenges arise, reinforcing your desired behaviors. A pivotal Stoic practice is setting a daily intention or a catalyst, a single impactful action that aligns with your values and moves you closer to your goals. This could be as simple as deciding to be particularly generous with your time or patience that day. By identifying and acting on this catalyst, you create a ripple effect of positive actions throughout your day. Incorporating micro-decisions is another key habit. Throughout your day, be conscious of the small choices you make, from what you eat to how you respond to an email. These choices might seem insignificant, but they add up and shape our character and destiny. By making these decisions deliberately, you strengthen your decision-making muscle, ensuring that your actions consistently reflect your values and goals. Ending your day with a gratitude slam can shift your focus from what went wrong to what went right. Forcefully articulate 3 things you're grateful for each day. This practice isn't just about feeling good. It's about retraining your mind to recognize and appreciate the positives, fostering a general attitude of contentment and resilience. A weekly feedback loop with a trusted friend or mentor about your behavior and reactions can provide valuable outside perspective and promote growth. This exercise requires humility and openness, but is instrumental in helping you see blind spots in your character that you might otherwise miss. Practicing the emotion-action split is about taking a moment to identify your emotional state before deciding on an action. Whenever you feel a strong emotion, pause, name the emotion, and then choose a rational response rather than acting on the emotion directly. This habit helps break the automatic link between feeling and reacting, allowing for more considered and effective actions. Lastly, daily philosophical reading such as a page from Marcus Aurelius' Meditations or Epictetus' Enchiridion can provide daily inspiration and reinforcement of Stoic principles. These readings serve as a mental nourishment that fortifies your resolve to live according to Stoic virtues. These 10 habits are not just activities, but are gateways to transforming your life in line with Stoic wisdom. As you integrate these practices into your daily routine, you'll find that they not only enhance your ability to manage challenges, but also enrich your life with greater peace, purpose, and fulfillment. Each day presents a new opportunity to practice these habits. Each practice a step towards mastering the art of living well.